Good morning, you guys, and welcome back to another very productive morning in my life. Even though I definitely don't look like it in these clips, I am a sucker for an early morning and personally love nothing more than my 4:30 a.m. wake-up calls to help kickstart a productive day. If you're new here and are wondering why I would ever willingly get up this early, it's because I'm a spin instructor with classes at 6 a.m. Even though I took a step back from teaching to focus on social media, I'm still subbing classes here and there, and since the early morning classes need the most coverage, I've been taking on 1 or 2 per week. I do get questions about how I became a morning person, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you. On days where I don't teach, it is so much harder for me to wake up early, and I definitely have days where I hit snooze over and over again, or I turn my alarm off completely. If this is something you struggle with, I highly recommend trying to book an early workout class. Now, obviously when teaching, I have 20 riders counting on me to show up, and the thought of accidentally sleeping through class literally haunts me, so I immediately jump out of bed when my alarm goes off. Even though it's not as extreme, I experience the same thing when I book an early workout class. As an instructor myself, I now know what it feels like to have people ditch class without notice, so when I book any workout class, I try to never let this happen myself. Most fitness studios also charge a late cancel or no-show fee, which again is incentive enough for me not to miss class. If those 2 things alone aren't enough to get you out of bed, then the positive impact on your mental health just might be. When you're willing to do hard things like wake up at 5 a.m., you show yourself that you are so much more capable than you probably give yourself credit for. The more you do hard things, the stronger you become and the better you'll feel about yourself. By doing something as simple as waking up a little earlier than usual, you begin your day with an accomplishment and set yourself up for a successful remainder of your day. Although I'm slightly sensitive to caffeine and don't usually drink pre-workout very often, I do like to take a little bit of PE Science's Prolific Pre to help energize me for these early morning rides. As always, I will have the link to all of my favorite supplements in the description box below, and if you'd like to try some for yourself, then make sure to use code nairee to save 15%. Now, if you watched my last early morning routine video, you'll know that I like to show up at the studio extra early to practice and prep for my class. This includes a dynamic warm-up, my bike setup, a light and audio check, and then a brief run-through of the playlist and choreography. In this class specifically, I was introducing an entirely new upper body combination that I had never used before. When I plan my playlist, I usually just practice the choreography while sitting at my desk and hope for the best. And in this case, as you can see by the expression on my face, it all came together seamlessly. The first ever morning routine video that I filmed was over a year ago, and at the time, I was only just completing my spin instructor certification. I remember being so nervous at the thought of teaching, and now I couldn't imagine my life without it. Unlike when I worked reception, my responsibility after the class now includes spraying the bikes, putting away my gear, and closing up the spin room. Besides that, whoever is working reception usually takes care of the rest. But the girl who worked my morning shift is quite literally one of the cutest and kindest human beings, so I offered to do it for her. She attends my classes with a few of her friends, and they always go for a sauna together afterwards, so instead of making her friends wait while she finishes up, I told her I didn't mind at all. I'm a sucker for a wholesome girl group, and the additional cleaning I need to do takes about 5 minutes, so it's no skin off my back. Once I've put away the used towels, disinfected and put away the shoes, sprayed the weights and the bikes, I'm all set to head home. As someone with ridiculously oily skin, I'm already prone to a ton of texture and acne, so with the amount of exercise I do, I usually wash my face 2 to 3 times a day. This includes when I wake up, after my workout, and again at nighttime. Now, before you guys come for me in the comments, I've looked into the effects of overwashing, and I've played around with different skincare regimens, but I've found that doing this is what works best for me. Now, if you're watching this video because you want to take control of your mornings, then I recommend implementing the following mindset. Pretend there's a documentary crew filming your life. Joe Rogan described this as the best advice he's ever heard, and it is something that has stuck with me since the day I watched whatever podcast he said it on. Think about it. If you pretend there's a camera crew following you, filming your success story, I guarantee you're gonna try your absolute best to work as hard as you can. And if the thought alone of this isn't enough to help you finally do all of the things you have been promising yourself you would, I urge you to grab your phone or your camera, hit record, and see what happens. Now, the reason I say this is because on days where I film, I suddenly find this overwhelming sense of motivation to do all of the things I've been wanting to, yet continue putting off, like stretching and breath work. And this concept of having a camera crew follow you is applicable to not only your mornings, but to pretty much everything in life. I think it just encourages you to do all of the right things that you need to do in order to become the best version of yourself. So if you've been struggling with doing the things, take this mindset and run with it. After some recovery and breath work, it is time to take the pups out for a walk. Now, if you're wondering if you're seeing double, I can assure you that you're not. We have been dog sitting for my boyfriend's parents while they are on vacation in the Netherlands, and their doodle Otto just so happens to be Cooper's biological nephew. Otto just turned 1, and he has a very youthful energy about him. He's a sweet boy, but he definitely is a little bit of a maniac who lacks leash walking manners, so I like to take them out of town just a few minutes to where they can romp around off leash. Being a dog owner obviously comes with its challenges and inconveniences, but getting Cooper might just be the best thing that we've done with our lives so far. Dogs know no limit to the amount of attention or affection someone should get, and they are made almost entirely of joy. Nothing is dull and no one is not worth loving. I saw a post last week that said, if we include our dogs, it might slow us down, but maybe that's the whole point. I'm not usually this sappy, but Cooper is laying at my feet while I look at these clips and record this voiceover, and it just has me feeling some type of way. It's also that time of the month, so my hormones might be at play as well. I like to take the dogs out for at least an hour in the morning and then again for a 15 to 20 minute walk in the evening. By doing this, I know that they've been physically and mentally taken care of, which helps me avoid feeling any mom guilt throughout the rest of our day. As soon as we get home from our walk, I put together their breakfast. Earlier this year, I learned that adding a few splashes of water to dry kibble can help with a dog's digestion as well as hydration, and Cooper has honestly never been as excited for his meals as he is now, so I think it's gotta be doing something. Now, while I let their breakfast sit, I like to habit stack by taking a few minutes to tidy our kitchen. Habit stacking is essentially exactly what it sounds like. You take a new habit and add it to something you already do habitually. In this case, I've added doing the dishes to my morning ritual of letting Cooper's food sit. The latter doesn't take a lot of conscious effort and is something I do on the regular, and so I've added tidying my kitchen and essentially stacked these two habits on top of each other. Habit stacking is another great tool for maximizing your mornings and jumpstarting new healthy habits. If you're looking to refine your routine, just combine something you already do with something you want or need to do. For example, once you get out of bed, make your bed. Once you drink your morning coffee, meditate. Once you soak the dog food, wash the dishes. The list goes on. If habit stacking is something you're more interested in, I highly recommend reading the book Atomic Habits. It's what first introduced me to this concept and so many others that have helped me with my morning routine. Now, usually after feeding Cooper, I will make myself and Quinn some breakfast and then sit down at my desk to begin my official workday. This day was just slightly different because instead of doing that part of my morning routine at home, I did it at my parents' instead. I just recently became a big sister to the 4th doodle in our extended family. This is my parents' puppy Maui, and he is quite literally the most scrumptious dog I think I've ever laid my eyes on. Since he's still quite young, he hasn't spent a ton of time alone, and so this particular morning my parents asked if I could come by and hang out with him while they ran some errands. My answer was obviously an immediate yes. I mean, look at that face. Maui hung out with me while I responded to emails, and then we ended up on doggy TikTok doing the head tilt check trend. It's basically just an audio compilation of a ton of different sounds like squeakers, roosters, other dogs barking, etc., and it results in the cutest little head tilt there ever was. After finishing up some more admin work, it was finally time to make my own breakfast. Now, since filming this video, I've changed my eating habits significantly and will make sure to film a video updating you on all of this soon. Dr. Stacy Sims recently shared so many incredible insights about female-specific exercise and nutrition for health, performance, and longevity while on the Huberman Lab podcast. She detailed the negative effects of training fasted, the importance of high-quality protein consumption post-training, and crucial supplementation for women. As someone who is incredibly active, this podcast completely transformed my approach to exercise and nutrition. I've also been transitioning off of hormonal birth control and have been educating myself more and more about the intricacies of our hormones and how those affect not only our training, but also our everyday lives. Again, I think I need to make a video to chat more about all of this, but in the meantime, I highly recommend you listen to that episode of the Huberman Lab. Well, with all of that being said, we are at the end of yet another productive morning in my life. If you're still watching this, I really appreciate you sticking around until the end, and as always, if you have absolutely any more questions about anything mentioned in this video, feel free to reach out to me on any of my socials. My inbox is always open. I hope you guys have the best rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.